Well, surprise! I'm here.
We're glad you're here.
Surprise, surprise! Oh,
So-
what a journey.
Okay, you say that kind of, joking around a little bit, but I'll be honest with you, I did not expect to do a show today because on the last show you had one plan as far as the way you were going to attack things, and then things changed. So I'm happy you're here this week, but I think you need to explain because people are doing this journey with you on why you're here today.
Right. So last week I had said that I was starting treatment on Monday, the 12th. And I had said that that day after we were finished recording, I was meeting with other doctors, which I'm so incredibly happy that I did. Um, it's night and day difference in the care that I'm getting. And, it's one of those things where you have to follow your gut. And my gut said, go meet other people. You have this week before you start, what's the harm? No harm, no foul, right? I mean, everything from like they're saying I was getting the wrong chemo to
Wow.
the other office hasn't even called me yet to see why I didn't show up. Like that's how bad it was. And I didn't know, I felt like there was this big disconnect, but I was like, also, what am I expecting? Maybe I'm expecting too much. I'm not sure. No, no, the place I was at was terrible. Absolutely terrible. When I met with the new doctor, he immediately like called the radiologist. He immediately called the oncologist. They answered the phone. We all did a big phone meeting in the room. The oncologist said, come to me Monday morning, cancel the chemo and come to my office Monday morning and let's talk. So, and I had my backup meeting. I had it with my original oncologist on Tuesday in case Monday wasn't, any better or great. So I had everything lined up. But, they just were so much more thorough. And I don't know if it's because I kind of walked in there like, do you know who the fuck I am? I fucking love my life. I've got shit to live for. I'm not just another number. I'm not another statistic. And I kind of, in a nicer, kinder way, did that because I was like, you need to know me. You need to know who I am as a person. First, I'm a mother. I wanted them to know these things about me. And, this doctor who's older, he did. He fell into my arms and was like, yes, gave me his cell phone. I have their cell phone numbers. They call me from the car. How are you doing? It's such a different experience than where I was at the first time. And I'm not saying I should get special treatment because of what TV shows I've been on. I need special treatment because I fucking care. I care big. Yeah. I'm going to give this everything and I have a lot to live for and I want the best. And anybody can demand that, not just me. But you have to make yourself heard. You really do. My first meetings with the doctors, I really think I was more in shock and I was just receiving the news. So it was this unpacking of this terrible situation I was dealing with. And I didn't have a lot of questions. I didn't have any of the research. I was blind, going into this, not knowing a thing. And mostly in shock, getting news were my first meetings. And there was never any like follow up to like, anything. I mean, I left this office with packets. I met my nurse that's going to be giving me the chemo. I have a nickname for him already. Like it's so much different. It's just so much different. And now I feel ready to go. Listen, we're going to do a stronger chemo and we're going to do it for twice as long as a plan from the other one. But like he said, if you're going to do it, let's knock this out. And he doesn't want me doing the cold capping. So I'm trying to figure out how the hell to get that back to FedEx. FedEx, why are you so difficult? Like, why is FedEx so complicated? Cost me $35 to have it shipped here, and they want $135 to ship it back. I'm like,
oh, wow.
Fill me in. Fill me in on how this works. And they want me to drop it off to them to boot. I'm like, so I'm like wrangling that. But anyways.
Just curious, why don't they want you to do the cold capping?
Because so how the cold capping works is that it protects those cells from the chemotherapy by freezing it. Mm-hmm. And by chance, and the chance is so very small, that any of the cancer cells were hiding in the brain, which is a favorite place of theirs that they like to hide in a lot of different types of cancers. It would protect those. And
Okay.
there is nothing that shows that anything should be in my brain whatsoever. But he also said, listen, this is 2024. Everybody has all kinds of cancer and not just one type. If you're putting this poison in your body and you're going to do this, let it hit everywhere. What if there's something thinking about sprouting? Let's get it. Let's hit everything. Don't protect any part of your body. Go. Just get it all killed. So um that's the plan.
So, a couple questions for you. As far as your treatment, as I asked you, I'm not sure if this was on there or off there, but I think it was on there. How long is your treatment? And when you told me, I thought it was kind of low. You know what I mean? I know your situation because I have two other friends going through it too, and they're going much longer. I kind of like I watch Grey's Anatomy and General Hospital. I don't know anything about medicine, I'll tell you right now, but I kind of agree. I like the idea of if there's something else there, let's knock it out now. Let's be
Yeah.
proactive. And I know it's not easy on your body, and it's not going to be easy on your hair and everything else that you're going to go through, which is minor when it comes to living and spending more time with your family. But overall, I'm glad you feel really comfortable and that it feels like people care about you. You said something that I think is really important, and I know guys don't do, where they always say you have to be, your best advocate and you have to fight for yourself. And, when you say, do you know who I am? It's not, do you know who I am from a TV show? It's, do you know who I am? Meaning I'm a mom. My life's important to me. It needs to be important to you. Even when I watch these hospital shows, Nicole, like Grey's Anatomy, and let's say it's somebody that works in the hospital, all of a sudden needs to be admitted. Why are there 10 doctors in that room where it's not, you know what I mean? There's not special care for the other people, but for the doctors, the people they care about. And it goes like this kind of in real life. If it's important to them, then you get what you need. Otherwise, you do have to raise your voice and you do have to fight for yourself. And I know a lot of guys, and I'm guilty of it too, just won't even go to the doctor till the last minute when it might be too late. The fact that you've been proactive on this, you're doing the right thing. Don't think for a second, hey, am I being a little too pushy? I don't think you are.
I don't. I know, and I don't. The night before I was meeting with the new doctor, I just had this feeling inside of me, and it was saying, Nicole, go tell them, go show them who you are, show them that you have a message, you have, you have things to fight for. You're a voice. You're a caring mother. And it's like I think about it, and if I'm being totally honest, if it wasn't for my girls, I don't know that I would put myself through this treatment. I really don't. Um, I'm doing a chemo that they call the Red Devil. And I mean, I spoke to somebody last night who's 10 years post the Red Devil. And, life is not the same. It's not the same after.
Yeah.
She can still smell it. Um,
Wow.
yeah. Seeing anything red liquid can make her want to throw up. It takes her
Wow.
right back. So, it's like things are never going to be the same. And this is not only is this not going to be easy, this is horrible. It's such a strong chemo that you can only do it once every 3 weeks, because I wouldn't survive doing it any closer together than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody could take that, they said. So, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot, but you never know what's gonna happen. I mean, what if it shrinks before, during, and we get to stop early, or what if it doesn't respond at all? Because it only has a 60 to 70% chance of responding. What if it doesn't respond at all, and I have to continue to do this, forever? There's so much unknown ahead of me that it's just like one day at a time, and it takes me to like so many people, and I feel really bad about it, but people want my time right now, and I just don't have it to give, I
Yeah.
don't have it to give to anybody, because I am full force covering all my bases, doing everything I can to prepare to be down and out for the next year. I do a lot of stuff in a day. I do a lot
Yeah.
of things in a year, and I'm trying to get ahead of everything and do as much as I can. I am nonstop all day while I feel good, because I know once I don't feel good, then let's hang out. Then come over, then keep me company. But right now, no, I want to spend it with my kids. I want to just take care of business, and I want to live my best life while I still have it. And that's, and I want people to understand that it's like no hard feelings, but my kids deserve and need that time,
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly.
not anybody else. And like I said, there'll be so much time when I'm, not feeling well. Come over, help me drink my water, this kind of shit. But right now, I just have too much going on. And when I'm done talking about the cancer in a day, I am done. Don't bring it up to me. Don't call me and ask me because I'm not going to respond. And it's not that I don't think it's important because I know I'm affecting people around me. I am sympathetic to that. I completely am. And I'm sorry that it's affecting people around me, but I can't do anything about that right now. I have to just worry about myself and my journey and what's the best for me right now. I have to be selfish for like the first time ever.
Yeah, I don't think that anyone would have an issue with that if that
They do.
truly cares about you. I know. Well, my point is truly cares about you. The deal is you have not only do you have two kids, but you have one that's on the verge of being a teenager. And anyone who's had a kid that age understands they live an extremely busy life, and you don't have anyone else to rely on but you. So, I mean, you're planning your life, but also you're sitting there doing the best you can to make sure she's as comfortable as can be in the next year or two.
That's right. That's right. And, I mean, I'm trying to plan her birthday, which is July 29th. So, because I know I might not feel up to it. So I want to, there's so much going on that people don't, yeah, they don't realize. And it's a lot. Like my day
Yeah,
is every hour on the hour, I've got a different appointment.
yeah.
And it's just what I need to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think it makes complete sense, and it'd be one of those where you really no regrets when you look at how you handled it. It's going to be no regrets that you always put the girls first, which you always have. Um, as far as other things in your life during the week, do you get anything that takes your mind off of what's happening? Whether it's watching TV, whether it's reading a book, whether it's going for walks, is there anything that takes your mind off of not thinking there's something inside of me that's killing me?
I don't think it ever leaves the back of my mind. But I do things to lean into it. I do a lot of guided meditation. Like I have one today at 11. I do guided meditation. I do yoga. Here, listen. This is my house. There's spiritual music playing all the time. There's sound baths. And that's in between meetings with doctors and Zoom meetings with doctors and some business I still am doing that I want to get wrapped up. Doing a little deadline stuff for the Baywatch documentary. I had to find some pictures and needles in a haystack, and I had to go digging and physically dig them out. I did it. So it's just like it's just one thing after another, and it's all the prepping.
Yeah,
But, that also helps me keep my mind off of it, or at least keeps it moving in a positive direction of what's going on. I'm not sitting there going, "Oh my god," and scared. Yesterday was a tough day. Excuse me. Yesterday I had a tough day. Yesterday I cried. And I cried quite a bit the first half of the day, and I found myself crying for my girls and not for myself. I really feel bad that they have to go through this. Um and it's like a nightmare you can't wake up out of, but that they're the reason I'm gonna fight. They're the reason that I'm gonna be this sick and feel this horrible, so that to show them and to be there for them.
of course.
But no, I mean, I think just keeping really busy and doing proactive things keeps your mind at least in a positive way towards your disease, not dwelling in like the sadness or getting depressed, that sort of thing. And that kind of worries me for when I'm down. It's like when I'm down and I can't be doing these hourly meetings and I can't be my normal busy Nicole. I don't want to fall into a depression. So that's when I'm really going to lean on my friends and let's see, who I'm going to need. I'm going to need company. I'm going to need comic relief. I'm going to need all of that, during those times. That's when that's going to be important.
No, absolutely right. Absolutely. As we do the show today, it happens to fall on Valentine's Day. And
Yes.
so when you were just talking about your daughter and the age she is, when I was a kid, I remember Valentine's Day that there's a time where you had to bring candy for the whole class, or you had to do a Valentine's Day for every kid. Like you had to do a little like a card with something. Does that still go on? And when does that stop? I'm just kind of
It's
curious.
kind of stops in elementary school, luckily. Now they get to pick, but yes, I used to do the whole class We used to do something fun for the whole class, but no, now I got stuff for her, and she wrote me the sweetest card. She gave me this whole little history on planets of what represents love, and it was so cute. And then she went on to write about how I'm the strongest, funniest, most fun person she's ever met or ever seen or something. It was
Love to hear
hit you right in the heart this morning. I was like, oh, beautiful.
good. That well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you're her hero. It's that's really neat. Does she have any anxiety going to school today for Valentine's Day that some guy might give her, something that she's like, oh no.
No, it was funny because we were driving and I said, "So, any cute boys you're looking forward to seeing today?" She's like, "Nope." And I'm like, "Any boys have a crush on you?" She's like, "No idea." It's like, "Okay, we're not ready yet." We're not there yet.
All right. So you have two daughters, and I have a bunch of nieces. I never had daughters, and it's funny how certain girls are into boys at a young age, and certain ones are like that's down the line, and whatever that is, that is. But it for you, did you ever have either one of your girls where they're boy crazy young?
No.
No, neither one.
No, she's not interested at all yet. My other one was the same. My other one still prioritizes life before relationships, and she's in a solid relationship she's been in for years. She has a partner, and he was also raised by a single mom, so they have a lot in common. And no, she's kind of well, she's funny though. I will say this, when they had a moment of a break, um I had called her. It was like a couple days later. She was so upset. And then a couple days later, I was like, "What are you?" She's like, "Oh, I'm going on a date," And I was like, "Oh, you move quick." And she's like, "Yeah, what else? What else do I have to do?" So, she immediately went on a couple other dates. They ended up getting back together, but she definitely didn't sit around like crying her eyes out. She got right back out there. I was like, "Well, okay, well, all right." So I think they have a really healthy look on that sort of thing, which, because that could have gone
Oh,
either way.
I have a niece who, no joke, like 8 years old, and I always say, "So how's school going?" And then she'll say, "I like two boys." And then I say, "You got to be careful with that." And she goes, "You don't know what you're talking about." I'm just saying, "All right." And then I'll look at her parents going, "Oh my God, 8 years old already." And she has two older sisters. And next time I see her, "How's it going?" It didn't go good. The two boys, both, I told them both I liked them both, and they both started fighting. They had to kick one kid out of the classroom and they had to like separate them out of this thing. She started a huge like fight in the classroom at 8 years old over two boys fighting over one girl. And I go, "Now look what you did." And I go, "How's it going now?" She goes, "They both hate me now. Now they both hate me." And I was like,
Oh
you
my
know,
god.
it just caused major drama. I had something strange happen to me yesterday. I went through a McDonald's drive-through to grab a Diet Coke, and which is one of the things I said I was going to stop doing. But anyway, I wanted a Diet Coke, and I go through the McDonald's drive-through. It's around lunchtime, so there's a huge line behind me, and I get to the window, and I'm going to pay whatever it is, and I just always say to everybody, "How you doing today?" And the kid on the other side of the window said, "I'm not doing good."
Oh,
Surprised me. He said, usually everyone just automatically responds as, "I'm good," because the attitude is, half the people don't care about your problems, other half are happy you have them. And so "What's going on? Can I help you with anything?" And he goes, "I'm 21 years old and I've never had a Valentine," he says to me. And he's like on the verge of crying right to me. And I said, "Man, things are going to get better." And he looked like he was about to just collapse right there in the window. He just was so like depressed. And I said, "I don't want to bring you down." I said, "You're 21." I said, "I will share something with you." I said, "I had a son who passed away at 20, and life gets better. You got to be positive or look forward. You're going to look back at this day and go, there's a time I didn't have a Valentine. Now you're, in a relationship. Things will get better for you." And him and I spoke for like 5 to 7 minutes in this window, but the line's packing up like crazy behind me. And I'm looking in the mirror going, "Man, there are a lot of people back there." But it didn't matter to him. And when it was all said and done, man, he reached through, he gave me a fist bump, like, "Thank you for talking to me. This is the best part of my day." And I felt so bad for this kid that here he is working and he's in that window, in that little box, like falling apart over Valentine's Day.
Oh, oh
You know?
man. Oh,
Yeah,
the feels, all the little feelings they have when they're so young.
yeah,
Things are so important, right?
yeah.
It's
To
really
us,
just
we
a
know it's
Hallmark
young.
holiday. It's just a
Yeah,
Hallmark holiday. It's
that's
not
it. You're
even
right.
like a real thing. Doesn't
You're right.
represent anything.
No, you're right. I just felt terrible for him. It's one of those when you're 21, you thinking, man, I'm an old kid, I'm an old person. But we all know at 21, life changes dramatically from there.
Oh, come on. Yeah. And listen, the late bloomers are the best ones. So,
Yeah.
you know,
so anyway, I imagine if I drop that on him. The late bloomers are the best ones.
the
He
late
looks
bloomers are
at
the
me.
best ones.
Yeah.
They're people who like are so popular and have all the girls and have everything in school. They like fizz out. Like, where are they now? You know what I mean?
True.
Like, what did they were, the jock or the popular one, they didn't make the team, and they're probably, still living in that hometown talking about their high school football days.
We've
Like,
all seen those guys. Yeah.
yes. So it's the ones who go unnoticed that that shine later, I believe, anyways.
You brought up football, so just a couple days ago we had the Super Bowl. I know you aren't a huge fan of the Chiefs or the 49ers, but 220 million people watch. It was an all-time record through streaming, through everything else. And obviously a big story was Taylor Swift. And for the
Mhm.
NFL, they're excited that, hey, if we can get a female audience, no matter the age, it's good for us. I never understood the hatred towards Taylor Swift. I mean, the point is that Laker games this year, Jack Nicholson all the time. Nobody seems to freak out, or Spike Lee at New York Knicks games, but because it's Taylor Swift and they want to make it political, they make it kind of where it's a bad deal. But she's just there supporting her, boyfriend. The whole deal with Taylor Swift and the amount of people, it's you kind of show your face. I understand if you're a celebrity, but at the same time, not meaning Taylor Swift, meaning all the other people that were there. It's one of those where it's the most watched TV show of the year. Any interest in watching the game because the celebrities are there for you, or are you just like, it's not my cup of tea?
I turned on the TV and it was going into overtime.
Did you stay with it or did you turn it off?
I watched it. It was going into overtime, so I watched the last play, and I thought that was amazing. I was like, "Well, listen, I know all the controversy that's going on with the Super Bowl. No, I wouldn't took advantage of everything that was going to be empty, and everybody was home watching the Super Bowl. So I
Yeah,
went out, but I came home.
smart.
I came home and did catch the last, and I thought, you know what? The amazing thing was, it obviously was a great game. So everybody can talk all their shit and all their smack, and they could say whatever. But that was a nail biter, right? I mean, come
It
on,
was.
didn't they? Yeah. So no matter how you look at it, people got their money's worth. They got their time's worth, and it seems to me, no football expert
Yeah.
here, seems to me that it was an all around great game, no matter what you were there for.
No, it was. I wasn't a fan of either team, but it was. It was one of the best games I've ever seen. It was exciting. And
Amazing.
I think you and I spoke about this, but that the mentalist, the guy that said last year in August when he predicted who was going to be in the Super Bowl, how it was on Hard Knocks, a TV show on HBO, where Oz the Mentalist went on. And I don't know if you've seen this guy on Good Morning America or the Today Show, but he goes into different work environments. A lot of times it's sports programs, and he'll tell you, what you're thinking, or he knows stuff about you, like what's your grandmother's middle name. And then he'll flip over the piece of paper and he looks right in your eyes and can read your thoughts, is what he claims. And so he has this guy on, McCole Hardiman, and he says to him, he's on the New York Jets. He goes, "You think you're going to go to the Super Bowl?" He goes, "I'm going to the Super Bowl." And he says, "I think you're going to the Super Bowl too." And he goes, "And you're going to play who?" And he goes, "We're going to play the 49ers." And he turns his paper around and he has the Jets beating the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Well, McCole Hardiman got traded to Kansas City in the middle of the year, and he tells him, "You're going to win the Super Bowl." Well, who
Oh,
caught the game-winning touchdown in overtime? McCole Hardiman. It blew my
that
mind. I'm
kid,
like,
yeah. Oh,
this guy in August basically told this guy, "You're going to win the Super Bowl," and he caught the game-winning touchdown pass in overtime. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this was one of those things that was nuts to me." Like, I never understand magic or mentalists or anything else, like a David Blaine or any of those guys. But I couldn't believe it.
that is pretty amazing. That's
Yeah,
fun.
that was wild to me.
But you know what I found wild is I did watch a little bit of like the speeches afterwards after they won and everything, and
Yeah,
um Travis Kelsey did his whole big, whatever he did, he was singing, and everybody gets their shine. And then the kid who you're talking about, who caught the ball, he got to like just hold the trophy up and just say one thing, and like he's the guy that caught it. He's the guy that
Yes,
won it for you. He gets the least amount of attention.
he did.
So I
He
was
didn't
like,
know the game was over because the rules changed. He didn't know that they won the game. He took the football. He threw the football away. That's something you're definitely going to want to keep. But he said, he goes, I blacked out. He goes, the quarterback had to run up to me and tell me, hey, we just won the Super Bowl. And then it clicked in. Like he didn't realize exactly what was happening because
he
I
was in the
completely blacked
moment.
out.
I mean,
It was in the
that's
moment.
talk about being focused, right?
Yes.
That's yeah, being
Oh my
in the
gosh.
zone. Yeah.
Speaking of that, I was thinking about this today because, as I've said on the show before, you and I met when you were doing Charles in Charge, and it was in front of a live studio audience. When you're doing your work like that, whether you're doing a play or you're doing a sitcom, are you aware the audience is there while you're talking, while you're acting, or do you get into such a zone that it's just me and the other actors?
Well, you get into, like, for me, I can speak only for myself. I get into a zone. I know that they're there, but I'm not thinking about that they're watching me. I'm just sort of like using their energy, like all the energy that's in the room. I kind of I kind of thrive off of that, and I can feel that, and that's a big deal. So if the audience, those stands were full of people or they were empty, I could definitely feel the difference. Even if
Yeah.
everybody's completely quiet, I can definitely feel the difference. So, there's something to be said, about collective energy.
Is it one of those? Again, I didn't even do a school play. I was just too shy of a kid. Never did any of that stuff. But is it one of those where it kicks in when it's over? Because if anyone's ever been to a recording, a taping of one of, like show like yours, when it's over, they introduce the cast and you come out, you kind of take your bow, kind of just like a play, and everybody cheers for you and everything else. At that moment, is it just, whew, all the energy is out. It's over. I did my work for the week, and
Yeah.
smile, take a deep breath, do my bow, and that relief of kind of like for an athlete to be like, hey, all right, we won the game. It's over. I'm done. All the preparation, it's over.
Yeah. Um, I don't know that it's quite as rewarding as winning the Super Bowl,
No.
but, but it's definitely like a nice wrap up, like, to know that people enjoyed themselves and you gave them a good time, and, you know, that's what you were there to do, and they're showing you that you did that, and yeah, it makes it like a complete package.
Yeah, I was curious about that. Have you done, obviously you've done a bunch of things where like Baywatch isn't meant to have a huge, following, even though when you're filming on Baywatch, you're having, the regular people at the beach who are just standing around watching you guys do your thing. But like, Charles in Charge, there are people in line with tickets trying to get in to see the show. But when you do a play, and is it one of those where if you had to choose any format, whether it's a movie, it's a live studio audience for a sitcom, it's a play, which one would you choose, or which environment do you like the best?
Well, I really like them all for different reasons. They all have, their positives and their negatives. I will say doing a play is super exciting and super rewarding. And it's like I'm surprised I don't involve myself in a lot more stage plays. It's just that it's not that big in Los Angeles. It's kind of a small, and when I did it, I was like at the Mark Taper Forum in front of, one of the biggest venues we have here in Los Angeles. And so I kind of got, spoiled by that. Like if it's not that, I'm not sure I want to do it. I might look into getting more into plays now that we're talking about this, because it really is fun. It's really fun. It's really like grassroots. Um, you're so involved with every aspect of it, and you see all of it so much. It's like this more of a cohesive production. And then the audience, that energy, it's such a larger audience than in front of a taped show like Charles in Charge, right? It's so many more people than that. So that energy is like, that's crazy. I remember we got a standing ovation like closing night, and it just was like, ugh, like all the emotion. I was a kid, it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So, yeah, that's like, it must be something what like performers, singers artists what they experience when they're on tour or doing a concert or something like that. That energy is big, 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 big. It gets
What I
you
think
high.
is, yeah, what I also like the idea is if you're prepared and you know what you're doing, that you don't have someone saying to you, "Let's do another take. Let's do another take." It's just once it's out there, it's out there. I mean, it
Yeah.
is walking on a tightrope, and hey, someone might have made a mistake or stood in the wrong spot, but when the show goes on, like for me, like I hate doing the same thing over and over again, even if
I agree with that, and it
you
gets
know,
stale too, like, with your
yeah,
acting, it's like, "And how many times can I change this?" And then they're like, "Okay, print that one." You're like, "That's the one I like the least," you know? Um, and it's chopped up so much. With a play, the energy flows, right? You have this whole energy, and each performance is different, but it's because it's just flowing along, and it's all in order. It carries the story in order, whereas a film, you might shoot the last scene the first day, and it's all over the place, and it takes a little bit more to keep it fresh
yeah,
and keep in that moment and figuring out where you're at in the story and all. So it's a little bit more difficult like that. That's, yeah, like a play, it, you've rehearsed it so much, and now you just get to go perform it. And it's like, and here we are, and this is what we have. And there's something really fun about that as a viewer and a performer.
Have you ever had a director that's made you do so many cuts of takes, I should say, of let's do it again, let's do it again, let's do it again, where in your mind, I'm never working with this guy again. Like it becomes frustrating of, oh my gosh, like I swear they all sound the same. Like, what are you asking for?
um Maybe a little bit, nothing crazy. You know what's worse, honestly, what's worse than having to do it over and over is, when they take forever to set up the shot. And you're just waiting, and you're waiting, and they can't get their lighting right, or they can't get the shot right, and they can't get the setup right. That to me is more frustrating, because at least if we're shooting and we're doing dialogue and we're shooting something, we're being productive. And I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not saying they're not being productive by setting up the scene and the shot, but it just sometimes certain, director with the cinematographer, sometimes they just don't work real quickly, and it
yeah,
takes, and it's not put into the schedule to take that long. So that's when it becomes frustrating because, when you're working with a great cinematographer, you want them to have their time. You want them to do their job. You want them, whatever it takes for them to get their shot, you want them to have that. But when when you're on a tight schedule and it's not scheduled into it
yeah.
to give them that time and everybody's sitting around waiting, that's when it's like pulling teeth. That's when it's really hard because you're dying out. You're like, I just want to go to sleep now. And, and then you got to go out there and, be so fresh. But, um, listen, all in all, it's all really fun.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, all of it I find so fun and so neat and so lucky to be a part of it and watch everybody do what they do, that I don't really have anything bad to say about any of it. Just with filmmaking, you gotta pack your patience.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Certain shows, as a viewer, I sit there and I watch, and I go, "Man, how long did it take to set this up?" Like a show like Yellowstone, it's an hour show, but I'm like, "There's a lot of time." They make every show almost like what would be a movie,
Yeah.
and you're going, "Man, it's a lot of time." And you're outside so much that you have to worry about the sun, and I'm going, "There's a lot of time that goes into these episodes."
Yes. And with a show like that, it's scheduled. They schedule it so that they have the time to set up those gorgeous shots, right?
Yeah,
So that it all works really well, and they know how to time it all out. So yeah, it has to be, yeah, it just has to be organized properly.
all right, let's get to the mailbag. Unless you want to touch on Vanderpump, I thought Vanderpump
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of.
you wanna talk,
Go
okay,
ahead.
I just wanna say I just wanna say, I read this article that I thought was pretty funny because it put into perspective quite well. So Ariana is living at that house with him, but she's
Okay.
not paying him back. He's paying for everything, and he keeps complaining, like, that she is not paying him back for anything, and she says to him simply, "I want a breakdown. I need a spreadsheet of where all the cost is going," and he can't be bothered to take the time to do it.
Oh wow.
And he wants it to be like, "Look, this is how much cable is. This is, you just owe this." And she's like, "Nope, put it in a spreadsheet and then I'll pay you." And so it's that kind of like power game going on. And I just thought, okay, this is getting more unhealthy as the more I learn about it, the more unhealthy it is. But I understand it's her power trip on him. She's living there rent free. He has to pay for it. And she gets, to make rules. And I kind of noticed that it seems like it's Ariana and everybody's like her croonie. So you're either on
Yes.
Ariana's team or you're out. And part of me gets like that why she's feeling like that, and everybody's kind of backing her up like that, and I don't think that this is really healthy either. Like, this has just become, I mean, I never thought Lala would be such a follower.
Yeah, all of them. All of
All of
them, and
them.
they've all made a business decision of it is best for me to associate myself with her no matter what, because
Yeah,
right now she's the most popular person, on the show, more popular than Lisa. She has more power than anybody right now.
I know. But what happens when that turns?
I
So
can't
it's like
wait for it to turn. Like, literally, I'm watching for it to turn. Like, I've had enough already. I'm tired of it already, of her just what
well,
happened to your head? Your head's so big all of a sudden.
I want her, I want to watch her grow into that and even that out, because I'm
Yeah.
sure at first, you know, it is a lot. It's a lot. She's been handed a whole lot to handle very quickly in a short amount of time. So I give her some grace with that. I feel like Schwartz is the only one that is not falling into it. He's the only one standing his ground. He says to her, like, "You don't speak for everyone, just knock it off." And then they're all like, "But she does, she does." It's like, oh my God, have a backbone. And then
Yeah.
she says something like, "Why is he here?" And they're at Lisa's place or something, right? And why is he here? I don't want him around. And it's like, uh-oh. Yeah, a little too much power play going on here. It's
When you watch it, do you look at it and go, "All right, everybody in the country feels bad for her, and there's not one person who doesn't feel bad for what she went through, but she could handle it in a better situation where she could still be likable." Like, she's gonna come off at the end of this of not being likable at all.
Well, she's at a turning point. This is a fork in the road right now, and it just depends which way she goes. And that's on her.
Yeah.
That's on her and her character, like deep down inside. If she finally goes, "Okay, I've had enough of this. I'm over it. I'm moving on completely," or if she continues, this behavior, it's going to be a little ick.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, absolutely. All right, well, let's get to the mailbag again. Perfectlytwistedpod.com. Nicole's mailbag's right at the top of the page. Go ahead, submit your questions, and we'll do our best to get them in. We have 5 of them from Kimmy. Okay.
Kimmy.
First one is Nicole. Did you ever meet Paul Walker? He's the only celebrity I ever crushed on.
I did. He was on an episode of Charles in Charge.
No way.
Yeah. He was on an episode of Charles in Charge, and I saw him around a lot as a kid. Yeah. Yeah, quite a bit I saw him.
Were
Quiet
you
guy.
surprised by his success? That his career just, I must use a bad phrase, but did his
No.
career took off?
No, not at all. I mean, he's super cute. Um, Super cute, really likable, really good, like, seemed like a good head on his shoulders, like, genuine nice guy. Like, he wasn't annoying at all when we were at that, awkward stage, and that says a lot. I have to be
Yeah.
honest, it says a lot. He wasn't annoying at all. He was a very nice guy.
Good deal. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I've never heard anything bad about him, so
Bad
it's
about
good to
him,
hear.
right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he was raised I think I remember his, like, mom being really nice and really, like, a good solid mom. I think he had a good background. Yeah, he was good people.
All right, next question. This one might take a while to answer. You just go ahead and give a summary. Nicole, what did you like and dislike most in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and so far? So that's a lot to go through right there. You
What?
decide
What
what
did I
you
like?
did like and dislike the most through your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and your 50s so far.
Well, I would say my 20s, I really enjoyed partying. I didn't enjoy being, like, uncomfortable in my skin and not really knowing who I was. Very a lot of soul searching needed to happen. My 30s, I really enjoyed because I was a mom. Um, I was in great health and shape. We were doing well. It was just a really fun time in my 30s. Um, my 40s were good too. I mean, My 40s kind of started off rocky because I found myself prego again, which I said I was never going to do. I was never going to be a single mom again, and never say
That's
never.
true.
So my 40s started off a little bit rocky with that, but then it was like I had this new baby and this, beautiful soul, and then I got to watch Dylan, grow up before my eyes and then move on and be this independent woman, and my 50s, they're suck.
So far, you
So far,
early in your
they
50s.
suck. It
Yes.
started out great. The 50s started out great. I was super excited to be 50. 51 was fun, and now 52 can go suck it.
Well, you're gonna look back at it and go, "Hey, in the 50s, I beat cancer." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way it's gonna turn. It's gonna be all right. All right, next question for you. Nicole, were you ever in hair bands?
No.
No.
Was I into them or was I in them? Because
It says, were you ever in?
well, no, I am not
Okay.
musically inclined at all, nor was I really into hair bands. I appreciate that music more now as an adult. Um, no, I had phases of like Depeche Mode, The Cure, um, a little bit more emo rock, and then a lot of like Beastie Boys and punk rock, but not hair band rock.
Yeah,
And people
I'm
are
with
always
you.
surprised by that. They always thought I was like, gonna be so into like Whitesnake or something. I guess it was like my long, like Hesher hair. I don't know, but guys, especially guys, they always think, "Oh, I would have thought you were." No,
You know
couldn't
what?
be
I would
more
have guessed it too. I would have fallen right into that category. I said, yeah,
not
because
at
it was so
all.
popular when you were popular.
Right,
You know,
but
I
no,
mean, you
so were
yeah, I
the
mean, you
Beastie Boys. I mean,
yeah,
that's
that's
where I
true.
was at. Run DMC,
Yep,
NWA, that kind of
yeah.
stuff. Not hair bands. No.
That is funny. You know what's funny to me is I loved NWA when I was in high school and in college, and then I'll see kids now that I coach in high school that will show up in an NWA T-shirt, to practice, and I was like, "Do you even know?" You know,
Yeah.
have you listened to Straight Outta Compton? Like, do you listen to anything? Like, I was
No.
curious to know who got him the shirt.
Yeah.
It always cracks me up.
Well,
All
listen,
right,
my daughter, she wears
yeah,
Wu-Tang and uh, Biggie Smalls and TLC. She wears all of those shirts. So, you know, you got to give it
that
to them. They like the old
I do.
music. They really do.
Yeah, good because I do too.
Yeah.
Good. Next question from Kimmy is Nicole, if you could live anywhere else in the United States, where would you live?
Hawaii.
I knew you were gonna say why. I knew it. Yeah. Yep.
Hawaii. I would
Yeah.
say Florida. I would almost go for Florida, except that too much crazy shit comes out of Florida. Every time you hear something on the news, someone ate someone's face, somebody like the craziest shit you hear in the news, they're always from Florida. So
It's true.
I will just visit Florida. But I do appreciate it. I do think it's a beautiful, beautiful state. I enjoy it very much. But to live to actually like be in my vibe, it would have to be Hawaii. Yeah.
I always had people tell me that Florida's just like California, but it's on the East Coast. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, 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 it's not. And then yeah, I mean, I didn't go till I was in my early 30s for the first time to Florida. I have a sister-in-law that lives there. I'm like, this is not California. These bugs are ridiculous. Alligators in the front yard is
No,
ridiculous.
it's too much. Yeah.
Red ants everywhere. There's a lot of things about Florida that are not like California. I mean, I know California has its faults, but man, Florida is not what I expected. It's not
It's
what I
not listen,
expected.
I could get down with Palm Beach. I
Yeah,
could I could probably survive quite nicely in Palm Beach, but that's about it. I mean, yeah. I mean, they have pools and then they put big screens around the pool.
you have to. You have to. Yeah.
It's like, this makes it so it's all ass backwards to me. So I would choose Hawaii
Oh my
or
gosh,
Puerto Rico. I probably could do Puerto Rico in a strange way.
I've always
Yeah.
heard that's great too. I've always
Yeah,
heard Puerto Rico is fantastic.
it
All right,
is.
last one from Kimmy. It says, Nicole, do you have any bucket list trips that you haven't taken? And she says hers is Italy.
Italy oh, I wanna go back to Italy so bad. Yes, I wanna do Asia. I wanna do all of Asia. I wanna do it all. I wanna see it all very badly. And I also wanna go to Africa. I want to see, and I want to see like Morocco, and there's so much I want to see. But if I could like snap my fingers and pick right now, my dream top of the list is Asia.
Yeah. And as you said last
Obsessed with
week,
the culture, obsessed with the food.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
you said
love
last
to
week
spend
that
time in
when you do these
India.
trips, you don't want to come home, that you like to stay a little bit
Yes,
longer.
I mean, I feel like there would be no reason for me to come home if I
Yeah.
went to Asia too. Like, uh, yeah, I don't know.
They
Yeah, very
they
much my speed.
Kimmy, appreciate the questions again. If you want to ask Nicole a question, all you have to do is go to the website, perfectlytwistedpod.com, daily mailbag. Nicole's mailbag's right there. Make sure you submit them, and we will do our best to get them all on the air. But thank you so much. That was great. Kimmy did a fantastic job.
Yeah, thanks, Kimmy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see everybody soon. I might look just like this next week because I don't know when the chemo's coming in. So
Yeah.
I will keep you posted. And thank you to everybody. I've received so much love and gift baskets and grocery drops and
Wow.
I mean just so much. And you know who you are. And I appreciate it and it helps so much. So thank you.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Don't forget to subscribe, click that like button. We appreciate that as well. But it's great having Nicole. I know it's not a perfect situation for you right now, but the fact that you're able to show up and do the shows are, I think, not only for the people that love you, but also just just for me. I'm glad that to see your face and that you're able to do it. And so we're all rooting for you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
All
And
right.
I will see you soon.